He's beginning to believe.
Hello and welcome to my channel, hope you're having a pleasant day. And today you're probably wondering what the hell I'm doing on the floor. Well, I'm going to tell you, even if it wasn't obvious from the title. I thought I would do something a little bit different because, you know, I like to do experiment on the channel. Thought I would show off a few of my old 360 games, which, you know, I do say a few. I've got like 100 plus, so there's quite a lot to get through. Do apologise for the bad lighting. For some reason, this side of the room, I can't get the best light. I don't know why. It always comes up a bit sort of dark, so hopefully it's not too much of a distraction. And I thought I would recommend a few games, hopefully, so we'll see how it goes. So I think we'll get on with it. So starting off with the first pile, and we've got a really good one. Wet. So this was just sort of mix of different genres around the time. Sort of if you like Max Payne, stuff like that, maybe old sort of 70s exploitation films. Tarantino, I think you'll really like this one. Um, wasn't very well received, I don't think, around the time. I think it got sort of quite average scores, but yeah, it's actually pretty good play. Next up is a classic, and that is Mafia 2. So I don't think I really need to talk a lot about this game. Everyone sort of knows about it. It's got some really interesting features, like you can get parking tickets, you can get stopped by the police, stuff like that. So it's got some really cool details. The story's pretty good, so I definitely recommend that. Next is a game which I think I actually got this for Christmas or birthday, something like that. But Rage. So pretty much it's a combination of not different things really. It's made by the same team who've done Doom and that. It's sort of a bit like Mad Max, that sort of type of worlds that you can do races, stuff like that. It's just really quite fun, and you get sort of these cool little sort of boomerang things you can throw at people, and it's actually quite fun to watch. But yeah, recommend that. Definitely on my list. Next is a sort of a very underrated classic, I think, but I got Condemned. This is Criminal Origins, I think. I mean, it just says Condemned, but it pretty much is the same game. But basically, it's a bit like Seven, like that sort of thing. You're like hunting down a serial killer using the deadly sins and that. And it's got some really interesting mechanics. I mean, the lighting and that's fantastic. I think it's a launch title for the 360, so yeah, I recommend it. Yeah, highly recommend it. Next is one of my favourites, and that is Deus Ex Human Revolution. I'm thinking of Mankind Divided for some reason, but no, it's a really good game. Sort of the difference between this and the original cut, because this is the director's cut, is you can pick boss fights a lot more better. So you know, you rather than fight them head on, you can use turrets, stuff like that, to take them out. So it's quite interesting. They really updated it. Surprised you haven't had like a remaster or something, because it is. I mean, to be honest, it's a good looking game anyway. But no, it's weirdly it's sort of RoboCop in disguise. It's interesting. Next is an underrated title. So I've got Dark Void. So not really much to it. I can't actually remember a lot about the game, but I know you get like a cool jetpack. You can take out aliens, robots, stuff like that. But it's sort of around the time where Capcom was sort of experimenting with different games, and it actually turned out pretty good. But no, highly recommend it. And of course, there's always going to be one in the pile. This is a game I've not played, and that is Nier. Heard a lot about it. I think I've read like I think I got it right, but you can like you got like a choice of multiple endings. One of them's like you can delete your whole save file, stuff like that. So it's an interesting mechanic. But I don't know, I've never actually played it, so you know, I don't even know if I can recommend it. So you know, someone will probably put it in the comments. Next up, I've got Gears of War Judgment. I've played the original trilogy, really liked it. This one, I couldn't really get into it. To be honest, I can't really recommend it. I played maybe a few hours, and I don't know, I just sort of turned it off. I got a bit bored, but maybe that's just me. So that's the first pile. Next pile is well, quite a good selection. So I've got the orange box. So this contains Portal. If you played that, I think everyone knows about that game, right? Anyway, but it's got Team Fortress 2, Half-Life 2, and of course the 2 episodes that were included. And it's actually really good. No, I don't think there's a bad game in here. I mean, they're all classics. I mean, I think everyone's pretty much aware of them by now. But yeah, highly recommend that one if you haven't got it. I think you can get it for a good price on eBay, but I haven't checked listings lately, so I wouldn't know. Next up is Just Cause. So I personally couldn't really get into it. I think this is another one. I played the second one, really enjoyed that. Third one, it's good, but can't really get into it. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm not big into like destruction type games, but no, it's not a bad game or anything. It's just not really for me. Next up, you've got Fear File. So this is the expansion pack for Fear. Um, I mean, I've never actually completed the first game. I mean, I've done most of it, but this game didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So don't know if I can really recommend it. I mean, someone will probably say that in the comments. Next up is a very nostalgic title, and that is SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Can't believe that's that old, but no, I used to play this all the time with my friends. We sit down, obviously do the 4 controllers, and we just beat each other up. Not really much to it. I'm losing my voice a bit. I knew this was going to happen. So I don't want that picking up on the camera. But no, it's a good game. I highly recommend it. I mean, especially for nostalgic purposes. Next up is another sort of interesting title, and that is Binary Domain. So what sort of sets it aside from other games is rather than, because you fight robots in it, sort of rather than just shoot them, you have to shoot the armor off, and it exposes weak points, which add further damage. So it's a really interesting concept, and it is executed really well. So highly recommend that. Next up is Kane Lynch, Dead Men. So this was a title that was very mixed on release. I think it's done pretty well, as the years have gone on. But I know this is sort of involved with certain someone getting removed from IGN. Someone did a review, and I think they gave it like a 7, which is not even a bad score. And of course, around the time, I think the company was sending a lot of support to that company. So yeah, but it's an alright game. It's got a lot of interesting sort of inspirations from stuff like Heat, movies like that. So yeah, it's a good story. The gameplay is a little bit dated, I would say, but it is a decent game. Next up is UFC Undisputed 2010. So I can never really get into UFC games. I don't know why. Maybe it's not my thing, but I gave up on that. But maybe that's just me. Oh wow. This is a classic. So this is another game I used to play with my friends, and that is U Star 2. So basically, you use the Connect. You can be in movie scenes and sort of do a little cutout of you and place you with the character that's in the film. But a lot of the time, you just sort of mess about, say random stuff, and it pick it up, and it's a lot of fun, especially with friends. So if you're looking for a game which you want to, play with your mates, you can. Highly recommend that. You can get it on eBay pretty cheap. Next up is a game series I don't really think much of. It's not really my thing, but I've got FIFA 12. So this game, I remember, I think it was around the time I was at college. So I remember going into Poundland. They had a whole shelf just dedicated to FIFA 12. I mean, it must have been about, I don't know, hundreds of copies, but uh, yeah, it's just really weird. I guess they couldn't sell the stock or anything. Maybe Game Station gave a lot of stock to Poundland. Who knows? But could never get into it. FIFA's not really my thing. I mean, I played it with friends, but I don't know. I can't get into it. So next up is a game I've actually been playing recently, because I used to play this a lot back in the day. But Hitman Absolution. This is from the time where E3 actually got you excited for games and actually delivered. But I used to play a lot of this. Picked this collector's edition up from, I think it was eBay for like 12 quid or something. But I really, really wanted it. and I don't know, I really like the gameplay. I think it was quite a mix on release, but I think it's done pretty well so far with people. So hopefully gets better recognition, especially with the other Hitman games coming out. Got a few more at the back here. So get that pile. So first up, I've got Dragon Age 2. This is the one that's not really well recommended by people. I think I played a couple of hours of it, but again, never could get into it. I loved the first game, played a lot of that, but this one not so much. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just not really, it's just a bit average. Next up is Darkness, so very underrated title. I mean, a lot of people are a lot more interested in the sequel than the first game, but no, I really like it. Gameplay might be a bit dated, compared to other games around the time, but it's really good. And it has got the voice of Mike Patton uh, as the voice of the Darkness, and he does a really good job. But no, really recommend that game if you haven't played it. So what we got here? So next up, I've got Dragon Age Origins. Of course, this is going to be in the pile somewhere. Classic, really is. It's a bit slow the first few hours, but once it gets going, it's fantastic. So no, this is around the time when Bioware were actually doing RPGs and rather than just broken down online games. But no, highly recommend it. Next up is a game I wouldn't spend a lot of money on, but it's fun nonetheless. So I've got Two Worlds. So this was a game that promised a lot and delivered absolutely nothing. I think it's actually written here somewhere. So yeah, it's Oblivion on steroids. They did a lot of marketing for that, and the game is awful, but it is a lot of fun. If you just playing it for the hilarity factor, so sort of recommend it in that way. And I don't know why, but it's like someone sort of trying to scribble off the 360. Maybe it's just me, but who knows. Next up is a very old game, and that is Gun. So this is another game I played a few hours of. Couldn't really get into it, but I can appreciate it for all it is. So it's just sort of a classic revenge story, and I think a lot of westerns are sort of taking a lot of inspiration from this game. But yeah, it's a good game, just not really for me. Next up is a game which is actually really rare now. I think since the films have come out, but I got Deadpool. So it's got the voice of Nolan North as Deadpool himself, and it's an average game, but the fact it's got Deadpool and all that humour, it does sort of work quite well. So sort of recommend it if you're picking it up. I would say pick it up cheap, but prices on eBay are sort of fluctuating between 40, 50 quid. I think I've even seen listings for like 80. It's ridiculous. Next up is a game I don't think would do really well by today's standards. But this is Saints Row the Third. Played a lot of this game back in the day. I mean, I do still prefer the second one. I think that's my favourite in the series, which I don't even know is in this pile. I can't remember, but no, it's a fun game. Um, as I said, it wouldn't get away with today's standards. I mean, I played the new Saints Row, came out a few years ago. Tried to sell it on, and no one wants it. So no, I'm sort of stuck with it, to be honest. But no, it's good. It's a fun game. If you're not easily offended, you'll quite enjoy it. Next up is a 360 classic, and that is Prey. So it's sort of a game that sort of messed about with different mechanics. I mean, you have portals, even before that game came out. I think it was a launch title, if I remember. I've recently picked up the collector's edition from the US, and it's actually really nice. I might do a video on that, but yeah, it's a really good game. Highly recommend it. Sort of experiments a lot more with stuff around the time, so yeah, put that on the list. Next up is Battlefield 3. So absolute classic. I think I don't know. I think I would say it's probably my favourite Battlefield game. I mean, that is saying a lot because it's had a lot over the years. I mean, to be honest, I think anything's better than the latest one, to be honest. But no, I remember watching this at E3, getting really excited. I was like showing clips to my family, obviously hinting to get it for me for Christmas, and it delivered. I thought it was an excellent game. Very short, but for what it is, it's excellent. Next up is a game. I think it's actually been remastered. This, but I picked up Kingdoms of Alima Reckoning. Played a little bit of this, and it's not for me. Don't know. I think the only way I sort of knew about this game when it came out was I think you got, if you bought the game, you get a code or something for Mass Effect. I can't remember if it was for this or actually for the play in Mass Effect. I can't remember which way around it was, but yeah, it's not a game I really recommend. I mean, you can get it for cheap, definitely, because it's going for nothing on eBay. Next up is a game I don't think I've actually played, but it's been sitting in my collection for years, and that is Front Mission Evolved. Don't know a lot about this game. I know you sort of drive around in a big mech suit and fight people, sort of Metal Gear style, but not a game series I'm not really into. Don't know why. But moving on, next up is Dead Rising 2. So I played a lot more of this than I have played with the first game. Have played the third game, which is probably one of my favourites, and of course I've unfortunately played the fourth game, which sort of a bit kind of destroyed the franchise a bit, if I'm being honest. But no, it's a fun game. Um, I think it was a bit of a step down for some people, but still it's much better than the recent sequels. So highly recommend picking it up. So got one more pile at the top, and then it's just the bottom ones. I think, yeah, I think that's right. So first up, classic, and that is Bulletstorm. So pretty much it's just sort of on the right, sort of big, sort of slaymation fight. It feels it's basically just a big Michael Bay film, but in game form, and it's just excellent. And there's like a big shootout with a monster. You got to sort of run away and shoot at things around it. Cause damage, and it's fun game. I mean, I love kicking people because when you kick them, they go into slaymation and you can cause extra damage, stuff like that. You can kick them into spikes. So highly recommend that. Next up is Driver for San Francisco. So I think I played a bit of this. Weirdly, the collector's edition now is going for more money. When the game came out, for some reason, places like Kex and that were taking. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a bit. We're taking more money for the game itself rather than the collector's edition. But now the collector's edition is going for more. It's a fun game from what I remember, but I didn't play a whole lot of it. There's Detective John Tanner, of course, I've got to be called John, going to cover on a relentless manhunt. So, don't know, maybe I have to play it again. Next up is Far Cry Instincts Predator. I mean, it is a fun game, but no, it's sort of a bit of a remaster slash remake of the original game, but not as good. I mean, I don't think you can really beat the original, but yeah, it's a fun game. Play with your friends, probably not as good as the other Far Cry games, but it's still enjoyable. Next up is Dante's Inferno. So this game is sort of a bit of a retelling of what's the story? No, I can't remember. But basically just retelling of hell. It's Dante. I mean, it is Dante's Inferno, but the name, it's got another name which I can't actually remember. But it's a very fun game. If you like God of War, stuff like that, you probably really like it. The story's decent, and the boss fights are actually really well done. So it's pretty good. I mean, it's done by the same team done Dead Space, so it's going to be decent. Next up is a classic. So I've got Left 4 Dead. So well, just you shoot zombies. that's pretty much it. But the campaign is really good. For some reason, I think I've lost the second one. I don't know where I put it. I might have lent it to someone, or they haven't given it back. Who knows? But it's a classic. It's a perfect game to play with friends because I think it's up to 4 players, and you just sort of go around, well, shooting zombies, trying to get from point A to point B. So highly recommended. Next up is Too Human, and well, Too Bad more like, and it's well, somehow I got this for 99p. Don't know where the hell I got that from, but this was, I think it was like the most expensive game at the time. and it didn't do very well. The gameplay feels really weird. If I remember, you sort of fight with the left thumb thumbstick, so it's a really weird setup. But no, I couldn't get into it. Played a few hours, put it down. So fortunately, I don't recommend. Next up is Turning Point, and somehow someone actually spent probably 20 quid nearly on the game, or 2 for 30. But this game it's not really good. It's sort of a Wish version of Call of Duty. I can't actually remember where I got it. I think I got it off my uncle or something. And this has been a few years, but well, so it's been a few years. I think this came out in like 2006 or something. But no, don't recommend it. Next up is Quake 4. So played a lot of this. It's got a few controversial scenes, which I think pretty much everyone knows about now. But no, it's actually a pretty good game. And it does include the Quake 4 making of and Quake 2. So you want to play that game, you can as well. I had a lot of fun with it. Probably aged quite badly now, but who knows. Next up is another underrated title, and that is Spec Ops: The Line. Don't know why I can't say spec without sounding weird. I think that goes with the rest of me. But no, it's actually pretty good. Basically, sort of talks a lot about PTSD, stuff like that. The effects it has, because as you go through the game, it gets more and more dark. But no, it's actually pretty good. I don't know how people feel about the ending, but no, it's completely up to them. So that's all the top player. So I've got an absolute ton more. As I said, I've got like 100+ games. So what we've got here. So next up is a game I've never actually played, and that is You're in the Movies. So I'm going to presume this is like a Connect exclusive, and apparently this was like $1.99. Don't know where I got that from. So I imagine it's going to be a bit like that. So I don't know. Pick it up, I guess. Who knows? Next up is Enslaved Valley to the West, Odyssey to the West, and it is a pretty fun game. I think it's based on an old story. I can't remember which one it's called. I think it's like Journey to the West or something, but I could be completely wrong. It is randomly. It's directed by Andy Serkis, and it's co-written by Alex Garland. So 28 Days Later, Civil War, stuff like that, and it's actually pretty good from what I remember. But this has been quite a few years. Next up, the only one in this set which has got like a random case, and that is Dragon's Dogma. Played a lot of this. Not tried the second game yet. I think that's got pretty decent reviews, but don't know why I got the manual sort of stuck at the top. I think I got this from like, I think it was actually Game, but it was like really cheap. So I don't know. I have to get back into it at some point. And next up, I've got well, one of my favourite survival horror games. I mean, if this is a film you wanted to make a movie about, no video game adaptation, definitely be this one. So Dead Space. So pretty much you're called out to investigate a ship which has gone dark, and the shit's been overrun by sort of zombie-like aliens, and it's excellent. It's really gory. It's got interesting mechanics where the health isn't displayed like at the bottom of the screen. It's actually on the back of the character. You can look at how much ammo you got by aiming, and also rather than just shoot the enemies, you have to shoot the limbs off. So it's got a really interesting mechanic. Works really well. It's around the same time as I think it was. They took a lot of inspiration from. I think it was around the time of stuff like Resident Evil 4. So they took a lot of mechanics and that, and it's where everything was sort of brown. So this is like 2008, 2010 era. So it's pretty good. And next up is of course the sequel, which sort of took everything from the original and put it on steroids, and it's really good. And I did actually pick this up from Kex a few years ago, and I've actually got the collector's edition somewhere, which don't know where on earth it can be, but no, it's a really good game. Next up is Homefront. So this is a game which doesn't have the best reception. I quite like it. I mean, it's quite nostalgic for me because, well, randomly I think I played this at college. They had like a little sort of room where you can play games and that. but they had like a PS3, big sort of 50-inch TV, and yeah, you just play that for about an hour, get lunch, and then you just go back to class. But no, it's a pretty fun game. I think the graphics are sort of held up quite well. Next up is Brutal Legend. So it sort of revolves around a lot of metal elements to it. So which makes sense. Got Jack Black in it. You've also got voices from people like Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Halford, and Lemmy, who also do a pretty good job. But it's basically just a hack and slash, but with metal elements. That's pretty much it. Nothing else can go wrong with there. And it is made by the same people who made Psychonauts, so it's going to be pretty good, but very underrated game. Next up is a game series I never could get into, and that is Flashpoint Red River. I've also got the other one somewhere, I think it's like Dragon Rising or something, and I don't know, it's sort of a bit like Call of Duty, but a bit more realistic, so wherever you get hit, you take more damage, stuff like that. It's an interesting concept, but I don't know, it just doesn't work very well for me. Next up is an absolute classic, I think, for anyone who owned the 360, but I got Halo 3. This is the limited collector's edition. I mean, I would love to get the big one with the Master Chief helmet, but not the prices it's going for on eBay. But now this brings back a lot of memories. The flood mission, we have to go and rescue Cortana. It's difficult. You've got the big chase at the end with the Warhog. I don't know, it just brings back a lot of memories, and it's actually a really good end to the series. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the new games, but no, it's actually that's a pretty good game. That's how it should have ended. So next up, I've got even more of a pile. So I've got like another 3 piles or something. So I do apologise, it's a long video. But first up, Splinter Cell Double Agent. So I think it sort of did something a bit different with the series. Currently, I've played a couple of hours of it. Got sort of stuck on the mission where you got to go in some like vent or something, and lasers and stuff. It's actually really difficult, and you've got to do it by a timer. But no, it is a fun game. It's just got a few problems with it. Next up, absolute classic, and I've got Call of Duty World at War. So for me, I would say this is probably my favourite Call of Duty game. It's just got such a feel to it, which I don't think the other Call of Duty games have. It doesn't feel clean, if that makes sense. Like I played that recent one, World War Two. We sort of tried to bring back the whole World War Two element, and it didn't work. It just felt too clean. But no, brilliant game. Really got me into Call of Duty, that one. Next up is LA Noire. So you can probably guess what it's about. You play as a detective. Well, I mean, you start off as a policeman, and then you sort of work your way up to a detective, and it's really good. You sort of got to interrogate people. You've got to find clues and use them at the end, and then you have like a interrogation with who you suspect is the killer. So it's actually really good. I mean, I think this is one of the first games that sort of took a lot of the sort of facial recognition software, sort of facial software. So it's pretty good. Highly recommend that, and it's Rockstar. Next up is Metal Gear Rising. So this is a lot different than the other ones. It's a lot more action packed. It basically just feels like one big anime. That's the only way to describe it. I mean, it is a fun game. The story's a little bit over the place and really quite dark, even though it's like a humorous game. But no, it's pretty fun, and it's just got a really mental boss fight at the end. Next up is Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City. So this is the expansion pack for Grand Theft Auto 4, and it comes with 2 story missions. So you've got the Lost and the Damned and the Gala de Gay Tony. So I can't remember which one was better. I think it was Gala de Gay Tony. I think that was a better campaign, but it's been quite a few years. But no, they're excellent, really good. It's just a shame we haven't got any DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5, but hopefully they'll do something for 6. So next up is a game Another game which I've played a few hours of, never really could get into it, but that is Lost Odyssey. So this is a turn-based fighting game. So RPG, I mean, it's got an interesting story, but as I said, couldn't really get into it. Next up is a absolute classic. I mean, not the best in the series, but it's definitely good, and that is Assassin's Creed. So this is the one that started it all, and you sort of know the story already. You just play as an assassin, you take out Templars. That's literally the story. Probably not as great as the more updated ones, but it still holds its own, I think, as a classic. So recommend that. Oh wow! So next up is a very underrated series, and that is the Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena, and it does come with Escape from Butcher's Bay, but they're basically just sort of shooter slash stealth games. So you can choose to go in guns blazing, or you can take them out from the shadows. I mean, it's got a really cool element where when you're in the dark, your vision starts to change and you can see better. But it's really good. And you don't hear a lot about it, which is weird. But I'd love to see a remaster of that, so highly recommend that. Next up is a game I picked up really cheap, and that is Cabela Dangerous Hunts 2011. So this came with in a box with sort of a gun, but the gun doesn't actually work very well. It's just like a big sort of arcade thing. It's like House of the Dead, but with a skin, and it's really not that great, to be honest. So I don't recommend that. Next up is Diablo Reapers of Souls. So this comes with Diablo 3. Never played it, just sat on the shelf for ages and sort of just been gathering dust. So don't know, maybe I should really get into them. Never played the old Diablo games on the PC, Diablo 1 and 2, and had so much fun with that. It's bringing back a lot of nostalgia. So next up is Burnout Paradise. So I've not really into racing games. I think I played this. To be honest, back in the day I was really more into Micro Machines, the video game for that. But no, not really my thing. Next up is a game which ended a complete series. That is Medal of Honor. Oh no, I'm thinking of the other one, Warfighter. No, but no, I think this is around the same time as Homefront, so it's a fun game. It's just well, it's not really much to it. I don't actually remember much about this one. I might put that on one side and play that later. We'll see how that goes. If it is backwards compatible, which it should be. So that's the first pile, and just gathering quite a few more. So next, a absolute classic, and that is Gears of War 3. So this is a limited edition, which you can get for literally nothing, like maybe £4, 4 or £5. But there's a mission that I always remember where you have to fight a monster from the inside. You've got to shoot like organs, stuff like that. But it is a hell of a lot of fun. Well, I mean, there's also a mission in which is a little bit sad, which I won't give spoilers for, but it's pretty good. So I highly recommend if you haven't played Gears of War. They're fun games. Next up, Avatar the game, and again, played a few hours of it, turned it off, didn't think much of it, and I don't know why I haven't thrown it in the bin. I'm joking about that, by the way. But no, I couldn't really get into it. Loved the film, but the game not so much, and I might pick up the second one. Next up, continuing from Hitman Absolution, I've got the Hitman HD trilogy. I'm really surprised you haven't had a remaster of this, to be honest, because randomly this comes with comes with 2 contracts and blood money, but doesn't come with the first game, which I find really strange. But no, these are quite fun. I mean, I played quite a few hours of blood money, so I don't know, I might get back into that. Put that to one side. So another limited edition, and a game which I think gets way too much hate, and that is Assassin's Creed 3. I mean, I understand people don't like Connor, but when you sort of consider all the stuff that happens to him, even before you play as him, you can sort of sympathise a little bit with him. Would it be nice to have sort of a more of an expansion than just that DLC we got? But hopefully they're bringing back, or at least a couple of missions, sort of sympathise with him a bit more. But who knows? But this is the Join or Die edition. It comes with some pretty cool little goodies, and I think I got this pretty cheap. It's a bit tatty now, but yeah, I think I got this like 2015, something like that. But anyway, next up, Undead Nightmare. I really hope Rockstar do make a 142. No, because they're fun. They're really fun games. You sort of play as John Marston again. You've got to save your family from a zombie epidemic, and it's quite a lot of fun. I mean, you've really got to be good aiming in that game. Uh, Next up is Serious Sam collection. So this comes with the first two games, Serious Sam 3, Jewel of the Nile, and triple XP for some reason. But no, they're fun games. The second one sort of take sort of a step in a different direction, sort of gone for more of that comedic feel and look. But yeah, no, they're pretty fun. Played a lot of Serious Sam 3 back in the day, so I don't know, might put that one side, play that again. Next up is the only steelbook I think I got in the set, and that is for Lost World. I think my friend bought this for me. Yeah, my mate Jack, I think he bought it for me. Because as you know, I'm massive into steelbooks. But yeah, I don't think I've actually ever played the game, so I don't know. I might put that to one side, see how that goes. Next up is Rainbow Six Vegas 2. So I don't know, can't really get into the series. I mean, I know there's quite a few of them, but I don't know, they're just not really for me. Maybe they're a bit too realistic. I don't know, but no, never really played it. Next up, Fear 2, Project Origin. So two Fear 2 games? Who knows? But no, anyway, it's got the old game sticker on the back, on the top there. Can't remember if I played this. I think there was like a mission in a church and I got lost or something and I just sort of gave up. So I don't know, maybe I'll get back into that, but that's one side. Oh wow. So next up is a game I absolutely adore. So I talked a lot about World at War, but Black Ops, so this is my absolutely I'll say it's my second favourite in the series. It's so good. It really is. The zombie mode is brilliant. The multiplayer, fantastic. Story's pretty good. I mean, even for Call of Duty, which is where you just sort of shoot things, the story's actually pretty decent. So hopefully they do something a bit more with the series rather than just do this whole futuristic sort of Fortnite battle royale thing. But who knows? Next up is a game I didn't think I'd actually like, but I do, and that is Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. So the game really just says it itself. You just sort of fight Jack the Ripper, got to fight, investigate clues, come up with your own conclusion, and it's actually pretty good. Not really much else to it, but no, highly kind of recommend that. Even if you're quite into mystery games. Not advertising for Pepsi, by the way. I just quite like Pepsi. So next pile. So randomly, I've got two editions of Hitman Absolution. So don't know, might sell that on. I'll put that to one side. And here we go. So this Metal on that Warfighter. So this is the game which actually ended the series. It done really badly in sales, and I think it shut down the company. Not EA or anything. I mean, they're not going anywhere. But Danger Close. But no, this game, it really wasn't good. I played maybe an hour of it and just turned it off. Again, that's just me. But no, it's not a great game. I mean, the shooting mechanics are alright and everything, but the story's just a bit meh. Next up, and that's another classic. So I've got Modern Warfare 2. So played a hell of a lot of this back in the day. I mean, I've remastered it and everything, so I might pick it up if I can get it for cheap. But this game's controversial for, well, one reason, the no Russian mission, which is skippable, by the way. I don't know why people are complaining about that. You don't have to play it. I mean, it's even in the game as a choice, so I don't know, maybe that's just me. But no, I highly recommend that. Next up is Dead Space 3. So this is the last Dead Space game we've had, and it's alright. The story is it's alright. I mean, the setting and everything is really good, but the whole soap opera story just seems a bit weird, and I don't know, it just doesn't work. But I don't think they've actually made anything since Visceral Games, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I do recommend it if you don't take it too seriously. So I don't know. Next up is Batman Lego Heroes, and I don't think I played this. I mean, I played a hell of a lot of the old Batman game, the first one that came out, and you just I think I had it on the Wii as well, and just played hours and hours of it. But no, I couldn't really get into it. Next up, another Lego game. So I got Indiana Jones 2, and I think I played a lot of this from what I remember. Yeah, I think I did. I think I played a lot of this. But no, I really like the map in this, and I don't know, just a lot of fun. I just like Lego games. Next up is Fable 2. So this game is not very. I wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, it's alright. It's got a few cool elements, but it promised a hell of a lot back in the day, and it's controversial because of the collector's edition. But basically, well, I don't know if you know, but they announced sort of this collector's edition. It came with like a pack of cards or something, a little statue of a character, stuff like that. And then when people actually got the game, their collector's editions, it didn't deliver on anything. So people, of course, complains, and I think they did hand out refunds in the end, but it did take a while. But no, it's I don't know if I recommend it. I mean, I love the opening to the game. I think it's really well done, but no, I don't know, I just can't bring myself to recommend it. Next up is a game series I've never actually played, and that is The Godfather. Well, we'll buy one there, but I've never played any of them. They're a bit like Mafia, but I don't know. I've never played it, so I don't know. I can't really recommend it. Next up is Defiance. I've never seen the series, so I wouldn't know, and I've never actually played the game. But apparently, this is better with Kinect sensor, so I don't know how I feel about that. So we'll just leave that. So on to the last pile. So first up, another classic, and that is Modern Warfare. So there's so many good missions in this game, especially the you got to go and assassinate that I can't remember his name, but you know the mission I mean. You got to sort of snipe him and that. Got to walk through stealthily, and it's really well done. I think I've played through the campaign probably more times than I've had hot dinners, which is quite a bold statement, but no, it's really fun. And it has got the picture of the mission on the top there, so I know that was going to be really well received. Next up is a game which I don't actually remember anything about, and that is Body Count. So it's got some sort of interesting elements from what I remember, but I don't remember much about it. Weirdly, I don't know. Not coming back to me, but no, I don't know. Can't recommend it. Next up is Dishonored. So I've actually got this for the Xbox One, which I played it on. I've never actually played it on the 360, so it's just sort of sitting about. So I don't know, might sell that on. But anyway, it's pretty good. You can choose how you want to go about missions. You've got sort of magic and stuff, so you can unlock things, and you can like go into the body of a mouse, get from one area to another. So you've got little stuff like that, and it's pretty well done. But no, highly recommend it. I've got the collector's edition of the second game, and I think I've even got one from the first game, but I don't know where I'll put it. So yeah, recommend it. Next up is Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, and again, never played it, so I wouldn't know. So put that to one side. Next up is The Darkness 2. So this is a sequel to the other game which I just showed off earlier, and it's pretty good. I think it's a really good game. It really updates more on the mechanics of the first game. The story is pretty good. I don't know why it wasn't well received at the time. And it does come with a nice poster, which is from the limited edition. For some reason, I've got the little sleeve that goes over the top, so I don't know where that's gone. But no, that's a really good game, so I recommend that. Next up is Black Ops 2, so another classic. If Treyarch want to go back to how Call of Duty want would have been, with the whole futuristic aspect, I think they really should have done this. It sort of combines the both, and it really works well. I mean, this is back when Call of Duty was really good. Next up is Grand Theft Auto 4. So I would say this is probably my favourite in the series. I think it's got the best story. Gameplay is pretty good. I do like the driving, which a lot of people didn't, but I think it works pretty well. I think so. Highly recommend that. Next up is Doom 3. So this contains of course, the third game and the first two, and it's really good. I know a lot of people didn't like it at the time because of the whole Doom 3 itself, because it stepped away from sort of the fast-paced action, went for more of the horror element, and it works pretty well, I think. Do recommend it. Also picked it up on PS4. So last pile, which is good because we're nearly getting on for an hour. So first up is not a game which a lot of people like, and that is Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. I personally quite like the game. It's really strange. It's got this sort of filter which makes it look like it's found footage. It's very short. I think you can complete this in literally like 3 hours, and not really much to it. Basically, you just somehow chase some bad guy and get mixed up in sort of some conspiracy or something, and it's a really weird game. I think my grandparents picked it up for me randomly. I mean, around the time this came out, I wasn't even 18 or anywhere close. It might have been like 14 or something, but no, I can't remember. Next up, Azora's Wrath. So this is a weird game. Only thing I remember from it is this: you do a boss fight, and this bloke transforms into the size of a planet, and then he sort of goes like that with his finger, and then you just sort of punch his finger, and he explodes. That's all I remember from it. But no, it's pretty good. Don't know why I haven't got back into it. Next up is Vanquish. So this is it's an interesting game. It sort of takes a lot of elements from other games. You can slide, you can go in slow motion, stuff like that. And I think you can actually get this pretty cheap. You can get it on Xbox One with Bayonetta. I think it's like £10 or something. So I think it's recommended to pick up even for that price. Next up is Dragon Age: The Awakening, Origins: The Awakening, and I think this is an expansion pack for the first game. I think it was pretty well received at the time, but again, I can't remember, so don't know if I can recommend it or not. Next up is Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising. So again, not really big into the series. Only picked it up to go with the second one, because I guess at the time I thought I was going to play them, but didn't end up liking them that much. But I picked up really cheap, so not too fussed. Next up is the Bourne Conspiracy. I think it combines the first three films, if I remember. But no, it's weird. It's sort of got very clunky shooting mechanics, and then you sort of got big fighting mechanics. So you're fighting, being careful what button to press at what time. When you got a block or parry. But no, it's not bad. No, I would say I recommend picking up for a cheap price. Next up is Crisis 2. So I played a lot of this back in the day. Never actually played the first game. Might pick up the trilogy pack, which you can get for next to nothing. But no, I played a lot of this. Remember the trailer got me hyped. I think it played a song by the Prodigy. I can't remember which song it was. I think it was Invaders. Yeah, that was it. Invaders Must Die, and it really got me hyped. And it's got some pretty cool elements to it. Next up is a game which I really like, and that is Splinter Cell Blacklist. Was a bit controversial at the time because, as people know, Michael Ironside didn't reprise his role. A bit strange to think getting back for like a DLC or something, to sort of go over the voice, but who knows. But it's actually a pretty good game. The actor in it does do his best for what it is, and I'll give it to him. He does a good job. Next up is a game which a lot of people don't like. This is really badly rated, and that is Rogue Warrior. And weirdly, it's probably one of the most realistic examples of the real bloke. He does actually talk like this in the game in real life, and in the game he's played by Mickey Rourke. Ricky Rourke. I don't know if I've got that wrong, but no, it's the gameplay is really not that great. It's very broken. I do kind of like the takedowns, but I don't know why they call them stealth, because you've always got loads of screaming and stuff in the background. So I don't know, but no, it's fun for just to mess about with friends, have a laugh at, but it's not that great. Next up is the Saboteur. So I think this is actually pretty well received even at the time. But basically, you just plant bombs around Paris. That's literally the game. But it's interesting because the more bits you take over, like in Far Cry, you can take over towers and you've got that bit of land back or whatever, that sort of thing. But it sort of goes from black and white to colour, so it's pretty interesting. But I do recommend it. Next up is Silent Hill Homecoming. So this is not made by the original team, Team Silent. It's actually done by I think it's a European release company. I can't remember what they're called. This is Konami, but no. Oh, Double Helix. I think that's the company, but no, it's. I actually kind of like it. The story is pretty good, I would say. I mean, it's not got all horror elements you would want from the Silent Hill games, but no, I think it does. They did a good job for what it was, and the sequel is I quite like as well. I think it was Downpour. Next up, another horror game, and that is Rise of Nightmares. I couldn't really get into this game, and the main reason why is it's just broken. So you'd be in the Connect, you're fighting, and you're on sort of flaming like that in the game, which is just basically unplayable. And I think I did pick this up from game. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I do miss game. I don't have it in where I live, but it's a bit unfortunate. But no, it's not a game I recommend. And got last two. So last one is Call of Duty 2, and I think it's this game or the third one. You sort of play as a Russian, and you got to sort of run around in sort of a trench, take out enemies. But no, I remember it's pretty good from what I remember, so recommend. And the last game I got on this set is, of course, Ghost Recon Future Soldier. So I think I played a lot of this. I can't remember. I think I found the game a bit confusing. I mean, you've got to remember I was only a teenager. But no, I think my grandparents picked this up for me. I think they got this and Mass Effect. And it was just, I think I was quite ill and I just wanted something to play. And yeah, I think it was quite good for what I remember. But no, this is years ago. But anyway, that is all my 360 games. So I've got 100 plus Xbox games, which is ridiculous. And yeah, if you guys really like this video, I'll do one for my PS3. I've even got original Xbox. I've got one for PS4, one for Xbox One. So if you guys want me to do a video on that, do leave it in the comments, because I'll definitely do it. But yeah, this has been one long video, and as you can see, we're nearly at the 54 mark. But yeah, I think it's sort of quite interesting to revisit some of the old nostalgia, and hopefully this video wasn't too boring. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you again. Goodbye.